Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening, I should say. Can everybody hear me? Give me thumbs up. Perfect. I see one thumbs up. Two. Perfect. All right. So we are going to go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. Good evening again. My name is Dua Yang. I'm one of the outreach specialists at Cosumnes River College. And thank you for joining me for our evening session regarding dual enrollment. This is an information session. We're going to talk all about dual enrollment. Before we get started, I do want to mention that there's some little housekeeping before we start. So to ensure that we finish on time, I'm going to ask everyone to stay muted. If you do have questions, feel free to type your questions in the chat or write down your questions and then ask the questions towards the end when we have time for questions. Also, this please note that this info session is being recorded for us to post to our website later, so you can access this again at a later time, and that all information will be shared once this session is over, right? So all the information that we're going to share today. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get started. All right. So before we do jump into all the good stuff, I'm going to have everyone go ahead and sign in for me. As noted here, by signing in, this information that we're collecting is only for tracking purposes and for us to follow up with you. So again, as we share resources and information regarding dual enrollment and CRC, this is how we're going to follow up with you, send you those additional information and resources. So go ahead and take a minute to complete this, and then let me know if you have any questions. All right. So hopefully everyone was able to sign in. If you were not, if you couldn't access the form for whatever reason, feel free to stay behind. I'm more than happy to reshare the link so you can sign in at the very end as well before you leave here today. All right, so as you can see, this is the agenda for today's info session. We are going to talk and define what dual enrollment is, and then we'll jump into the eligibility requirements for dual enrollment students, so covering what the steps look like, setting up your OCTA, terms students should know, and then we'll also talk about expectations, right? The differences between college and high school, and what the student privacy looks like as a CRC student. And then we'll also talk about the cause, share important dates, and how you can get additional help by connecting you to student resources and the outreach team. So again, what is dual enrollment? We are going to define it here, but dual enrollment is basically a program that allows high school students and adult school students to take community college classes as a specially admitted student and earn college credit in that process. So some of the benefits of dual enrollment is that it does expand college access for our students. It also gives students the ability to explore their interests and career and majors and promote early college success. And then it also helps students build academic confidence and accelerates their pathway through college that can save them both time and money. So there are huge benefits to becoming dual enrollment student, right? I highly encourage you to, again, if you have questions regarding what courses you can take, I will be talking about that a little bit later. All right. Now let's talk about the eligibility requirements for our dual enrollment students. When it comes to our high school students or students who are under 18, some of the eligibility requirements include approval from high school or a parent or guardian and high school official or representative. So that could be either the principal, the counselor, whoever is going to sign off to say that the student is academically ready to attend college level courses. Another requirement is that the student must be in ninth grade or 14 years of age by the first day of class, so either or. And if students do not meet any of these requirements, they may go through the appeal process to attend a CRC as a dual enrollment student. Right. And then for adult school students, the only requirement is that this adult student must be enrolled in an adult ed program, and they will also need approval from the adult school representative. I also want to remind everyone that all students can apply to California Community College. So that means that students may submit an application without a SSN or ITIN number. If students do proceed with this process of submitting an application without this social security number and ITIN number, they will need to complete the CCC Apply Student ID Help Form. This will help the students retrieve their ID number. If we have students who need support with this process or have questions regarding their residency, we encourage those students to connect with our Dream Center. Our Dream Center is there to support all students regarding the application, CADA application, and so forth. I also want to mention that CRC is just part of the Los Rios Community District, right? That has 4 campuses. The other campuses include Sac City College, Folsom Lake College, and American River College. So the great thing about our district is that once a student applies to one of our campus, their Los Rios ID is the same throughout all the 4 campuses. So that means that if they wanted to, they can take courses at the other campuses without having to reapply. For our dual enrollment specifically, you could take up to 11 units per semester at any of the 4 campuses. So let's say that if you are wanting to take a bio course at CRC, but it's not being offered in the summer, or let's say it's full, if Sac City offers the same bio class, you're more than welcome to take it there as well. And here's a timeline of what the new dual enrollment steps look like. Once I go through this process, we'll go into details of what each of these steps look like in the next few slides. But the first step for dual enrollment student is to make sure they apply to CRC. Once they have applied and received their Los Rios ID number, they're going to go and create their single sign-on. So this single sign-on is going to be the login information that the dual enrollment student will use for all their online platforms, like their e-services, Canvas, and Los Rios Gmail. They should be receiving instructions on how to create this once they apply to CRC and have been approved. Once the student has created their single sign-on, they will complete the special admit form, which is an additional form that dual enrollments need to complete. This special admin form will require the signatures that I mentioned earlier, the parent and the high school official. And then once the special admin form has been processed by our admissions and records, students will be able to check their registration status to see if they are approved to become a dual enrollment student. Once approved, students will be able to enroll into their courses and pay any fees that they have. And again, I'll go into more details about each of these steps in the next few slides. So to apply to CRC, you're always more than welcome to go directly through our webpage, our CRC homepage. At the very top, you'll see the apply button. It's going to take you to a page where they're going to ask you what type of student you are, whether that's first-time new student or high school student. You'll be selecting the high school student. and then that will take you to the dual enrollment page for you to launch the application account. Once you launch the application account, you should see a page that looks something like this, where it's going to ask you to either create an account or sign in if you were a previous dual enrollment student or student before. For a returning dual enrollment student, you may not need to resubmit an application. What you can do is go to your e-services and check your task tile for a supplemental form. So this supplemental form will have students to confirm those additional questions that they submitted in their previous application. Once the student has completed this supplemental form, this will roll the student over to the next upcoming term or activate them for the next term. It is important that students check their e-services for this supplemental form, because if they miss completing this form, they will need to resubmit a new application. And here's an example of what that supplemental form looks like. They are going to ask you a few questions or ask you to confirm those questions that you submitted in your application. And you can always update those information here as well. Again, once a student has submitted an application and are able to log into their e-services, they can check their e-services for those information. However, if the student is creating or submitting an application for the very first time, they will need to create, again, what we call their single sign-on, also known as SSO. So this is, again, the password and login information they will be using for their online platforms. Students will also receive this instruction through the welcome email that they will receive when they submit the application. But what the instruction will require the students to do is take them to the password management page, where students can select the create a password button. And then it's going to walk the students through the steps of creating a password for their student account. Please note that when creating this new account or the new password, students will need their WID number, their phone number, and the security answers from their application to create this account or this password. Once the student has created their single sign-on or login information, if they are logging into their online platform for the very first time, they will be prompted to set up Okta. And Okta is what we call our multi-factor authenticator. It is a tool that Los Rios use to verify a student's digital identity. So before students can access their personal information and CRC resources, Okta will be verifying the student's identity first by sending them a text code to their phone. So again, once the student is logged in for the very first time, they will see a screen that looks very much like this for them to set up their Okta by registering their phone number. And then you would want to check the SMS to make sure that the students can receive text messages. Once that has been set up, Okta will send them a code to enter to verify the phone number and the student. Once the student has successfully verified their phone number, this will not appear again. But every time when the student log in, they will be sent a code before they can access their accounts. And then when it comes to completing the special admin form, the reason why we talked about creating that single sign-on is the special admin form that the student, dual enrollment student need to complete will require for the student to log in using that single sign-on. So in order for students to access this form, they will be using their single sign-on information to log in. And I'll be showing a video on how students can complete the special admin form. Let me pull this up. Make this. Let me turn up the volume. All right. And then Before I continue, can everybody hear this video? Give me a thumbs up. Feel free to unmute yourself too.
I cannot.
Okay. Let's see. Let me try that again. How about now? Are we able to hear the video?
I'm not hearing it yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
So if we can't hear it, no worries. I'm gonna send again the post email that I'll be sending to everyone. It will include this video. There's gonna be a more detailed video of how to submit this application. But I'll talk a little bit more about what the application looks like. Let me remove this. So let me drop the link very quick. So you have access to this, but again, I'll be sending this information out again. Unfortunately, the slides that I have for this dual enrollment special admit form is a little bit outdated. But when students are completing the special admit form, it's going to ask for students to input their personal information as well as the contact information of their parent or guardian and high school official. It is important that when students are submitting these contact information, that all the information is inputted accurately to prevent any delays. Because if the student misspelled the contact information, the special admit form will not auto route correctly to the designee. Therefore, that would delay the process, right? Then the student will need to resubmit the special admit form in that case. So since I'm not able to show you this process, I will hopefully be able to return at the end and talk a little bit more about this step, but I am going to continue. So again, once the student has completed their part of the special admit form, it is an e-form. So once they sign it, it will auto route to the parent for the parent to review the information to confirm that everything is correct and good to go, and then they'll sign it before it reaches the high school representative for them to review and sign as well. And then it will reach our admissions and records. So it has to go through this process in this order. So if, let's say, the high school representative is not receiving the special admit form, either the parent has not signed off on it or not receiving it, right? Again, if there's been a mistake in the special admit form, the student will need to resubmit the special admit form with the correct information. And as noted here as well, once we have received the special admit form with all the required signatures, it does take up to 5 working days. So that's not including holidays and the weekend for us to process the special admit form. With that in mind, make sure that once the student has completed an application, it is important to encourage them to also complete the special admit form once they receive their ID number. And again, if they don't receive their ID number, you can always reach out to the outreach specialist team, and I'll share their contact information a little later at the end. All right, so terms to know for our dual enrollment student who are becoming CRC student. So a lot of the questions that we have from our student, that includes what kind of courses do we offer at CRC? So I do want to talk about some of the differences in course modality. So at CRC, we offer courses in different modality, which includes online synchronous, online asynchronous, in-person, and hybrid. So for online synchronous, these are set dates and time for our students to meet with their peers and professor through an online platform like Zoom. So very much like this session, right? There's going to be a day time where students are going to log into Zoom and meet with the professor and engage in that lecture. Online asynchronous is a little bit different in that there's no set days or time. Students are responsible in accessing their online course through what we call our Canvas account, and will be completing and submitting assignments through their Canvas account. So that means students will be reading the course materials, completing assignments on their own time. And then we also have in-person courses as well, very much like when you go to high school. There's going to be set dates, time, and location for you to meet with the professor and your peers in person and attend the course, the course lecture. And a hybrid is a mix of both online and in person. So you can have a Tuesday and Thursday course where every Tuesday it will be in person and then every Thursday will be online. Another term that students should be familiar with is prerequisite. So prerequisite courses are classes that need to be taken before the desired course. So some of the courses that students may want to enroll in might require what we call prerequisite courses. Again, prerequisite courses are classes that needs to be taken for students to meet certain requirements first before they could take the class that they actually want. So if for students to know what courses require a prerequisite, you could always go to the CRC homepage and at the very top, click on academics. This drop-down menu will pop up for you to select search class schedule. When you click on search class schedule, it will give you the class schedule for the current semester. So right now our summer class schedule is up for our students to see what's being offered in the summer. Student can either search up the class that they're wanting to enroll in or go through the list to find what class they're wanting to enroll in. But in this example, let's say that if a student is interested in English Writing 302, they can click into this course and click into this little orange button with the arrow. And when clicking to that, it'll give more description about the course. So the units, the hours, how long it's gonna be for the semester, if it requires a prerequisite. And in this example, it does require that the student take English 300 first, and it must complete that with a grade of C or better, right? To take English Writing 302. If you see that a class does not have any prerequisites, that means that it's most likely that any students could just enroll into this without having to complete anything in advance. And then for students who are wanting support or are curious about what courses they can take, we also have what we call the dual enrollment list of recommended courses. This list of recommended courses is a list of classes recommended by our college counselor and faculty. It has been approved to meet graduation requirement and transfer requirement. But as you can see, we offer 3 of them for students who are in the STEM major, non-STEM, or in business. But when you click into one of these lists of courses, list of recommended courses, the first page is going to teach you how to read this list of recommended courses. But here's an example of what the list of recommended courses can look like for the general education pathway. As you scroll down, you'll see the first semester list of classes that students can choose. When you're seeing courses listed with the or, that means students can choose either or to take those courses. As you scroll down, you'll see the next semester, which is semester 2, a list of classes that students can also choose from. And as you can see, if we go back, the first semester, we always recommend 6 units for students to start with 6 units first, which is at least 1 or 2 courses. And the second semester, we tend to encourage students to take more courses if they feel a little bit more comfortable. So a maximum of 11 units. All right, so let's talk a little bit about expectation and what expectation looks like at the high school or at the college versus high school. So one of the things that I do want to highlight for our CRC students or students who are dual enrollment is that grades at the college level is going to be permanent. So all the grades that you earn at the college level will be part of your academic transcript forever. So it is important that students do their best um, in their dual enrollment courses, because as you come to CRC or decide to go somewhere besides CRC, all colleges will ask for a copy of your transcript and courses you've completed before. And again, these grades will be on there as well. Please also keep in mind that the college level rigor is a little bit different, right? Students might be expected to do a little bit more work. And when I say more work, it could be more reading, more research when it comes to doing their assignments. So please keep that in mind. Students are also expected to use the syllabus to help them through their semester. The syllabus will outline the course expectations and how to connect with the professor. So if you have any questions regarding the syllabus or what the course expectations are, feel free to reach out to the professor. But again, use the course syllabus and review that first prior to the start of the semester to know what is being expected in that class. Time management is also very important as well. So with college, as some students already know, the time is a little bit different in that you won't be meeting with your professor 7 or 5 days a week. You might only be meeting with them twice a week, once a week. So it is important that in between those time, you're going to your lecture course, studying, completing assignments before the deadline. Attendance is also different as well, because at the college level, some professor may or may not take attendance. Some of them might require attendance to be part of your grade. So it really depends, but it is important for students, again, to attend their courses and make sure they're up to date and on top of their assignments. Again, you won't be seeing your instructor as often. So it is important that you attend class to get the support you need and any questions answered and get connected to the professor if needed. And then professor always, they also have office hours to support the student as well. So please take advantage of that. Make sure you're connecting with your professor if you're struggling in the course. Again, because we want to make sure you're passing your class to keep those grades up. And also make sure that, that doesn't affect your future financial eligibility, which I'll be talking about in the next few slides. And then, of course, you could always email your professor as well, especially if this is an online course. You can always reach out through email to connect with your peers and professors. And then, of course, as a CRC student, you also have access to a lot of our CRC campus resources and services. And I'll be sharing what those are in a little bit, but it is your responsibility as a student to reach out to us if you're struggling and let us know what kind of support you need so we can get you connected. All right. And I also want to highlight that once a student is enrolled at CRC, they are protected under what we call the Student or the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. So this is regarding the student record and privacy. So as noted here, parents of community colleges or parent of community college students do not have the right of access to their children's student records, regardless of whether the student is under the age of 18. So in other words, once a student has applied and become part of a CRC student, the right to the student record and privacy now transfer to the student. That means that parents are not able to access this information unless the student give consent. It is also important for students to know as well that if they're interested in financial aid in the future, for students to always maintain what we call satisfactory academic progress, or also known as SAP. That means keeping up with a 2.0 GPA and taking courses that are outlined in the education plan. So by keeping up their GPA and taking these courses aligning with their education plan, students will be eligible for financial aid in the future. But if they are failing, or let's say that they're struggling and are not maintaining these, again, that will affect their GPA, which will then affect their financial aid eligibility in the future. So we want to make sure, again, students are doing the best, make sure they're passing their course, and again, reaching out when they're struggling or need the additional resources. Now let's talk about the cost of tuition for our dual enrollment students. So this is one of the benefits that I did not mention earlier, but one of the benefits as well, along with the other things I mentioned, is that for dual enrollment student, there are no tuition for courses. So that means students are not required to pay tuition or pay any fees for the classes. The only fees that students might need to pay is just maybe the $2 student representation fee and any textbook materials that they may need for the course. With that being said, I do want to talk about zero textbook cost courses. So at CRC, we offer courses that has this little symbol, which is this open book with the $ crossed out. This lets our student know that there's no cost required for this. There's no textbook cost required for this course. So at CRC, we are encouraging our faculty to find new ways to make their courses zero textbook costs. This can include adopting open educational resources, using more library materials, creating other learning resources that are freely accessible for our students so they don't need to purchase a textbook. So when you're looking for courses to enroll in, if you see the sign, please note that, again, textbook and materials will be provided for you and there's no need to purchase those. And then I do want to mention some important dates, especially for those who are interested in becoming dual enrollment students in the summer of 2026. So please note that our class schedule for summer 2026 is already up on our webpage since February 17th. So again, students can go to the class schedule to see what courses are being offered. Please also note that our summer semester starts on June 8th and ends on August 5th. And I also want to share the academic calendar with our students as well. This academic calendar holds a lot of important upcoming dates and deadlines that students should be aware of. For example, the add and drop dates, deadline to withdraw with a W on their record, the deadline to petition for a pass or no pass, and when final grades are due. So I am going to click into this academic calendar to show you what that looks like. Oh, and it's not letting me, so let me pull it up here. And again, you can always go to the CRC homepage and navigate to this page as well. And I'm going to show you how to do that right here. So when you go to the CRC homepage, for example, you can always go to hover above the blue bar at the very top and then go to academic calendar and deadlines. You'll see the different semester for this year, but we're looking at summer, so we're going to click on summer. Again, it's going to show you when the start and end date are. And then at the very bottom, you'll see the summer session dates and deadline for each of the courses. So as mentioned here, you can look at the session in which you're taking courses in. So if you're taking a course that's starting from June 8th to July 2nd, they're going to have different dates and deadlines for when you can add and drop courses, when you can withdraw from a class with a W on your record, and so forth. So it is important that whatever course you're enrolled in, whatever session you're enrolled in, for you to check for those dates and deadlines. All right. And then again, I do want to mention, come back and talk a little bit more about the support services that student can access. So again, once you become a CRC student with us, you also have access to our student resources, and that includes our free tutoring services. So for our tutoring services, we offer in-person tutoring at the Learning Resource Center on campus, and that includes a math center and also an English and writing center. These are drop-ins, so students can come by anytime and drop in for the support, but we also support with other subjects as well. If students cannot come on campus, we also have Penji, which is our online tutoring resource, and it is 24/7, so which is really nice for students who, let's say, have other obligations. And then we also have the tutoring Canvas page, which have a lot of resources and announcement on tutoring workshops and so forth. Students can also access the library services, which is another great resource. Some of the services the library provides is, you can always reserve textbook for the course that you need, book a study room for you to study or study by yourself or with your peers. You can also check out books. It doesn't have to be textbook. We also have comics and novels. And then you can always use a computer in the computer labs to print. And if you need help navigating e-services, which is your student account, or Canvas, which is your online Google account, or like kind of like a Google Classroom, the library help tech can help you navigate those as well. They also help with citation and other resources as well, and getting you connect to other resources. And then we also have the disability support programs and services. So for students who do have a disability, IEP or 504 plan, for example, that information does not transfer to our college, so the student will need to self-identify. It is important that students who need these services get connected with our DSPS office in advance to get those accommodations in place before they come to our campus. So some of the services we do offer with this includes uh, interpretation, braille textbook, transportation. Let's say that you're traveling from one location to another and you're having difficulty because of wheelchair, right? Or let's say that you need someone to take notes for you. Those are the services that they provide along with other ones as well. And then how to get additional help. So let's say that you're not sure what kind of support you need. Maybe you need to connect with someone to kind of talk about the kind of support you need. You could always come to the Welcome Center located at our College Center building on our main campus. It is open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4:20. But the Welcome Center is great because students could just drop in, get the support they need, and then they also get the one-on-one support from their peers as well. We do have a lot of staff, including student employees who work in there, who can support with all things related to CRC. So the application, financial aid application, answering questions you may have, helping you navigate your online platforms, connecting to you to resources on campus as well. And then, of course, students are more than welcome to reach out to the outreach team as well. And that includes myself, Carrie Reyes Cruz, and Vanessa Werner, who are the main outreach specialists for CRC. By reaching out to us, again, we can support you with the same thing, with the onboard process, again, getting you connected to the resources. So feel free to reach out if you do have any question. You can also set one-on-one appointments with us over Zoom if you need help completing an application, submitting the special admin form, or enrolling to courses. And again, I'll be sharing this information again in our post email once this session is over. So if you did not capture this information, please don't worry. But that does conclude my dual enrollment info session. I know that was a lot of information covered because there is multiple steps to becoming dual enrollment student. However, our team is here to support you through this process. So again, feel free to reach out to us anytime. And I know we still have a few minutes, so I'm more than happy to take any questions that you all may have. So feel free to unmute yourself or type your questions in the chat.
Yeah, I do have a quick question. My
Yeah.
daughter is going to high school next year, this coming August or September. So is she qualified to take the summer class this year?
Sorry, can you repeat that one more time? I had to turn up my volume.
Okay, yeah, my daughter is going to high school this August or September. So is
Mm-hmm.
she qualified to take the summer classes this year?
Great question. So if I remember correctly, the summer semester starts on June 8th. And then when is she starting course? Her ninth
Well,
grade?
she's going to high school this fall, but you said the qualification
Correct.
has to be 14-year-old or
Uh-huh.
ninth grade.
Yeah,
So
so if she's
yeah,
going to school this fall, it might be a little bit too late, right? But is she 14 or older?
not until November.
Okay, so she probably won't be able to attend. However, again, you can go through the appeal process if you want to try to appeal and have her attend a little bit sooner.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Mhm. Ooh, so I have a question here that says, my son takes chemistry at CRC, or sorry, just wondering if my son takes chemistry at CRC, does that count as his high school chemistry? So it does not. So with our dual enrollment program, the courses that students take at CRC will they will earn those college credit. However, those credit does not count towards high school credit. So hopefully that answers your question.
What is the program that does count as high school credit?
That will be the articulation dual enrollment. So that's a whole different process. And again, you will have to set up an agreement with our school. But basically, the articulation again is different in that the courses that the students are taking will have not only get them the college credit, but be credits for their high school as well.
How do
Where
we
can,
do that?
Sorry, repeat that one more time.
Yeah, how do we do that? How do we sign up for the articulation kind?
Yeah, so that's a whole different process. I could connect you with one of our staff, right? They can talk about that process because again, it requires a few signatures from the folks from your high school and probably our dean. Um,
Okay,
so again, when I email you the post email, feel free to get connected with me and we can talk about that process.
awesome. Thank you.
Hi, I have a question about the special admit form.
Yeah.
You had said that once the admissions and records receives the completed special admit form, that it may take 5 days, up to 5 days to process. How do we know that it has been processed or that it has been completed processing?
That's a good question. So once it has been processed, the student has been approved, they should get an email to let them know that they are good to go and should be able to enroll to the courses. Another way students can check is by going to the e-services and then seeing that enrollment appointment in their announcement tile, which basically is the date type for when students can enroll. Because if they don't submit the special admit form, they won't be receiving the enrollment to like enroll into courses.
Right. I have another question too. So I think you said earlier that the Los Rios ID number is the same across all the four campuses.
Right.
So if my son submitted the application through CRC and the special admit form through CRC, but realizes that the class that he wants to take is only given at ARC,
Mhm.
what happens? Do what happens?
Not much. Again, if they want to take courses at IRC, they can. They don't need to resubmit the application or the special admit form. The only thing they will need to do is when they go to the e-services and are enrolled into courses, there's going to be a little tab that says add college. It's going to have you add ARC as one of the college that you're wanting to attend. So that will allow the students to start enrolling courses at the other campuses as well. Otherwise, they'll only be able to view it. They won't be able to add it. But as they add the campus, they'll be able to start enrolling. So if
Okay.
the student wants to, they can add all the campuses.
Okay, great. And so the enrollment appointment would be the same. Uh, it, um, Whatever enrollment appointment he got, it would apply to any of the four campuses that he added.
Correct.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Mhm.
so I just have a question. I just want to confirm that I understand. I was under the impression that dual enrollment counted for the high school class. My son is interested in taking the Spanish course.
Mhm.
So that is not dual enrollment. It is called articulation enrollment. Is that correct?
Yes, it'll be like an articulation course that he'll need to take.
A different course, or I'm not understanding. He wants to take a Spanish course. So
Mhm.
that's an additional course he needs to take?
No, sorry, let me clarify that. So articulation is like another dual enrollment program. However, there's like an agreement with the high school and the CRC campus that will offer them both credit for the high school and the college, right?
Okay.
Again, that's like a whole process that I'm not privy to, but more than happy to connect you with the staff who can get you to talk about that process, or get connected to the high school to talk about that process.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to confirm something that I had read in the packet on the dual enrollment, and that is that a student has to decide if they want to do the dual enrollment process in ninth grade and enroll, or else it's not available to them later on in high school. Is that correct?
Could you share that with me? I'm trying to see where this information is.
That came from the school itself, not from your
Oh,
materials.
okay. I have not heard of that. You said that the student must start dual enrollment in ninth grade, or they won't be able to do it.
Correct.
So that's not correct at CRC. Students can start in their freshman all the way to their senior year.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then I also have a question here that says, do these courses apply to financial aid? And Amelia, what do you mean by that? Are you asking if these courses apply to financial aid, as in is financial aid going to cover these courses, or could you expand a little bit more on that? Oh, okay. Again, these courses, I mean, it's kind of hard to say, right? Because again, the students don't even need to pay tuition for these courses, which is really nice. Which is one of the great advantage of dual enrollment, is that they can enroll to these courses and not have to pay for tuition. And again, those fees that they are paying are just those textbook and material fees, like maybe Scantrons, notebook materials, or online resources or softwares. And then I do want to also include that it's not until the student come to CRC as a first-time new student where they're going to have to pay for tuition, right? But for dual enrollment student, they do not have to pay for that. Any other questions? Those are great questions, by the way. Again, if you can't think of any question, but if something does come up later, feel free to reach out to us. All right, everyone. If there's no more question, and I don't see any more questions in the chat, I am going to conclude here so everyone can, go about their day. So thank you so much for joining us. Again, please reach out if you have any additional questions.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be receiving an email from you. Is that correct?
Correct. So every workshop, you will be receiving a post email, which will include a lot of the resources that I mentioned. If you want additional resources, or if, let's say, you have questions about any of those resources I mentioned, more than happy to follow up and provide clarification.
Great. Thanks so much.
All right. Take care, everyone.